Meltdown. We must talk about what is triggering this crypto crash. We got all the reasons. We're going to talk about the Bank of Japan. We're going to talk about MicroStrategy. We're going to talk about the Tether FUD. Then we're going to talk about how low can Bitcoin go, because right now we're looking at a bear flag, not only on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, but you can also see a bear flag on the daily. And what does this daily bear flag lead to? Where are we looking at for some potential levels for Bitcoin to crash? But we got a little of a light at the end of the tunnel as well. It's not going to be all bears. It's not going to be all just tears. And I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. Let's just get right into the show. Smash that like button, everybody. I'm your host, DZ. You might know me as Nick Valdez. It is a little bit weird going someplace and everybody calls you by the government name, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Just got hired at Taco Bell. We got people. They're out there. They're deploying that capital. They're out there getting those green rectangles. And I think they're going to be out there buying the dip. And I think you're going to be rewarded handsomely for it. Let's talk about the dip. Let's talk about how low we can go. Let's talk about Bitcoin. First, I want to start with the smaller time frame. We're going to look at the 30-minute. Woo, things are dumping. Things are falling here. I might have to move my camera a little bit. But yeah, things are dumping. You can see Bitcoin on the 30-minute. In fact, I need to go to the 5-minute candles. Yeah, you see, we had a little bit of a nice parallel range. We had a nice little parallel channel. Bitcoin is, looking a little bit bullish, looking like, the worst was behind us. This happened Sunday night, right around 11 p.m. And then you could just see the free fall right there. And right now, Bitcoin putting in a slightly lower low, suggesting that, there might be more room to the downside. We're going to look at the liquidity levels as well. So don't you worry about that. Let's get back to the 30-minute. Let's do a little short-term price prediction here. So this is the smaller time frames that we're looking at here. You can see this on the 1 hour. You can see this on the 5. You can see this on the 10-minute. This is a bear flag, folks. This is not bullish. Now, we are going to do the larger bear flag, but let's start with the smaller bear flag. The smaller bear flag. Oh, God, I'm already clenching, if you know what I mean here. Well, we're looking at $80,784. Now, off the top of my head, that is reminding me of, I think, the 16th of November. Is that what we're looking at right here? 21st. I has 6 days off from the middle of the month. So 21st of November, that is actually going right to that level. It's almost to the penny, almost to the dollar. So you can see, very, very strong probability. I don't want to say very likely, but I would say, potentially above 50%. I'm not giving it 90%. I'm not going to maybe even say 80, but 60, 70% odds, in my opinion, that Bitcoin is going to be revisiting this lower low. And I would not be surprised if there's a large liquidity cluster right below this, suggesting one little flash wick to the downside there. So that's just on the small time frames. You see on the, we're just looking at the this little bear flag right here. But what about the large time frames? We're going to save that for a little bit later. I do want to get into some of these stories. I want to look at the rest of the altcoin market and just see where things are heading. Let's hit refresh. And how's everybody doing? I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I don't know what your guys' favorite meal was, but my wife's green bean casserole was phenomenal. And I was never a green bean casserole type of guy. Just applied to live behind them. Okay. See, I thought you were applying at Wendy's. No, you applied to Wendy's as a tenant. Oh, so you're asking to pay them rent. Dumpster fighting 2 other applicants. Hopefully they back out. Is it a raccoon? Are you tussling with a raccoon? Pump the markets. I do have a light at the end of the tunnel. We are going to talk about the bears news. We got to talk about why Bitcoin is crashing. We have to talk about why there's a meltdown. And then we could say, after we recover, where did things move from there? Some are saying that liquidity levels at 82K. Someone's saying it's going to dump 20,000 before it pumps 20,000. I say it's going to dump 20 before it pumps 18. We'll pump a little bit less there. How can we in a bear market? We never had euphoria. We definitely never have no euphoria. We had no parabolic top, but we did have nice returns. We had like a 800% return from the Bitcoin bottom. Some would say you should be euphoric on that, but we are going to have a little bit of a different mentality when it comes to euphoria with crypto. But let's look at the markets. Oh my God, it is 7.4% at this point. 7.5% at this point. ETH is down 9%. We're going to talk about those levels. We are in a short. The Discord is printing. The Discord is printing some great trades. And they also have a weekly report. So go down, join the Discord. It's in the trading signals chat. I am in a short right now. I'm shorting BNB. God, it's I should have threw more at it. I'll show the trade in a little bit. I only threw a little bit of capital. I was like, all right, I'll just do like $1,000, $2,000 position. Depends what levels get hit, and it's a little less than 1,000, but it is doing pretty well. BNB is now down 9.8%. Dogecoin is down 10%. Cardano's down 11%. That coin is looking terrible lately. I will share my thoughts on that. Chainlink, major news for Chainlink. We're going to share that as well. Chainlink, even with the awesome news that they got today, it is down 10%. Rain, we're not talking about Rain Wilson, aka Dwight Schrute. We're talking about Rain, the coin. It is up 11%. And then you have gold and stable coins. I do want to share a trade. I am selling part of my position of my gold and silver options. We are deep in profit. I missed a little bit of a parabolic top, so we're deep in profit. If you jumped in with the gold and silver futures, I am shaving that position. Now let's look at the big losers. Zcash. I literally had to check my Zcash portfolio. We did take a little profit. I'm still like 25% in the green with my previous buy, so I might take some more profit today on that one. Aster's down 14%. Pump.fun is down 15%. SWE down 13%. I missed the SWE short in the Discord, but gosh, if you're in that SWE short, you're doing great. NEAR is down 13%. Tau is down 12%. Let me know what coins you are in. Maybe we'll do a little TA a little bit later. I got a couple altcoins we're going to look at some potential lower levels here. Crypto is a joke. No one wants it. People only want stocks. I think the opportunity when things come back on, we're going to talk about the Japanese yen trade. Stocks are going to pump, but crypto will vastly outpump those stocks. It will vastly outpump gold. It will outpump everything you're talking about, thinking about, but it's also going to drop harder. So it's all about timing that. Can you time it correctly and literally change your life? Cyber Monday buying, maybe a little profit. People are like, I got to get that cheap crock pot. And because I got to get the crock pot, I got to sell all my coins here. But this is just a little light at the end of the tunnel. I was going to share this towards the end, but you guys are so bearish. I need to just show you now. I don't think anyone is prepared for this. You look at gold, yellow line. You look at M2 global liquidity, blue line, teal line. Then you look at Bitcoin. You could say, you know what? There's just no way adding money to the circulating supply is going to help Bitcoin. I just refuse to believe that. And I do think we're entering a new business cycle, which should be good for risk-on assets. But right now, risk-on assets are getting pummeled, and they're getting pummeled because of Japan. So let's get into that story. Let's get into the Japanese story. So CNBC, they don't even know what the heck they're talking about. Get out of here. CNBC just said live on TV, there's literally no explanation why Bitcoin is going down. What is happening with Bitcoin? Well, it's a good thing you're not watching CNBC. It's a good thing you're watching Discover Crypto. So smash that like button, everybody. So let's talk about why things are crashing, and then we'll talk about how low things can crash. You already saw the 80,000 definitely on the table. Crypto's liquidity issue. As we've seen countless times before, Friday night, Sunday night, often come with large crypto moves. We saw Bitcoin fall $4,000 in a matter of minutes without any news at all. You go to there you see it right there. There you see it right here. Let's just kind of measure how quick was this move. Coming in from, we'll do this candle. Yeah, there's $4,000 in less than an hour, basically. I mean, 3,850 minutes. So very, very sharp tumble for crypto there. So it fell 4,000 in minutes without any news. Why? Liquidity. Sunday night, Friday night, there is no liquidity. There's no one trading. People are enjoying life. And so when someone comes out with a large buy order or a large sell order, you're going to clear order books. You're going to have a major move with the price. And add in the fact that leverage in markets are a record high right now. As a result, the sudden rush of selling volume led to a domino effect sell-off, which is only amplified by historic amounts of levered position being liquidated. This bear market is still structural in nature. Kobayashi says, we do not view this as a fundamental decline. So do you think Bitcoin's going to bounce? Or are you, now's the time to deploy the Schrute bucks. Things are going to start bouncing. Or do you think things are going to start dumping? So pump or dump? Are we going, what's the first move of, say, let's just say $10,000. Are we going to go to 70K and some change? Or are we going to 90K and some change? So are you feeling a pump? Or are you feeling a dump? Get out of Bitcoin. I mean, what are you doing? Holding dollars? Are you going to be holding dollars? I'm going to be holding Bitcoin. In fact, I DCA'd a little into Bitcoin this morning. I did a little bit this morning here, not a whole lot, but I did DCA a little bit. And I'm thinking of taking my silver and gold futures profits and either buying Tesla or Bitcoin. Tesla or Bitcoin. I don't know which one you guys would deploy it into here. It looks like obvious dump. I can't trust a dead cat bounce. Saying lower, we're going to the 70s, we're going to the 90s. Dump. A lot of people thinking the dump here. Trump's war cabinet is meeting tonight. That's also going to, cause a little bit of selling pressure right there. All right. So I'm saying Tesla over Bitcoin. I'm at a coin toss right now. I'm kind of 50-50. So reason number one, low liquidity. Let's go to reason number two. Why are we dumping here? Number two, it's going to be the Japanese yield breaking above 1% on the 2 years. So we got the Japanese yen carry trade. So this is bad news for carry trade. We're going to talk about what carry trade means here. So this happened at the worst possible moment. Sunday night around midnight, the most illiquid window of the week. The order books are thin, market makers are on low volume, and there's no US ETF flow. So single macro trigger pushed Bitcoin straight through the support levels. So let's break down the why and the what of Japan. This is straight from the Wall Street Journal this morning here, 5 a.m. This is going to kind of give you the pertinent details that we'll talk about the crypto connection here. The crypto connection is a good name for a Sam Bankman-Fried movie, but Bank of Japan governor. This is, think of them similar to a POW. POW is one of the I want to say 13 governors, but he's the chairman here. But they have Kazuo Ueda. I think Ueda. We're just going to say Ueda. So Bank of Governor Japan, their governor Ueda strengthened expectations for another increase in interest rates later this month. So you know how Powell has a meeting, which he has one at 8 p.m. tonight. Powell has a meeting, and we hang on these sentences. And these sentences sound real technical sometimes. And you're like, really, the markets jump that much off of the adjective choice? It's like strong expectation versus somewhat of an expectation versus a weakened expectation. They're all expectations, but you'll get drastic moves in the market. So this is the Japanese translated sentence that is spooking the markets right here. He said this morning, the Bank of Japan would continue to raise the policy rate and degree of monetary accommodation if the outlook for economic activity and prices is realized. Yet again, very verbose, I don't want to say, jargon-filled response there. The translation strongly suggests an interest rate rise at their December 19th meeting. So they have a meeting coming up December 19th. So let's talk about the crypto connection of this signaling rate boost. What are we looking at here? 18 days from now here. So rising Japanese bond yields could shake the global carry trade and crypto here. So the government bond yields have jumped to the highest level in decades, which I'll show you the chart, prompting some analysts to speculate that it could be behind the recent sell-off that we saw. The 10-year bond yield hit 1.86% on Monday, the highest level since April 2008. 2-year bonds, that's the 10-year, 2-year also hit 1% for the first time since 2008. So while this isn't a substantial yield from government bonds compared to the rest of the globe, it is significant because it marks a shift as Japan has a very low interest rate, has had this low interest rate environment for decades, with negative or even close to zero rates prevailing for the most part and a very, very stable bond market. Now, this has encouraged investors around the world to borrow this low interest yen to buy higher yielding, riskier assets. They call this the yen carry trade. So if you borrow in a currency with high inflation, well, if you're paying me back over 2 years, you need to match that inflation. So if you borrow a currency with low inflation like the yen, well, you get a very good rate. Imagine buying a used car with, APR of 1%. I mean, I'd do a 10-year car note at that point. And so people borrow this low interest rate, pile of cash, and then they put it into risky things. So trillions borrowed in yen, they're deployed in U.S. treasuries, European bonds, emerging market debt, risk assets everywhere. And now that anchor is now breaking. Japan institutions hold about $1.1 trillion in U.S. Treasury securities and is the largest foreign position. And so analysts are warning of a flight to safety because of the Japanese yen unwind. While Japan provided an abundance of cheap money through the carry trade, some of that capital flowed into risky assets like crypto, U.S. tech stocks. If the liquidity reverses and flows back to Japan, there will be less speculative capital for crypto, for Bitcoin, for your altcoins. Crypto is usually the first place where this all shows up. It sits at the highest end of the risk spectrum and the autism spectrum. So even small shifts in liquidity lead to sharp moves. This is according to Wukong. So there's a good breakdown of the Japanese yen carry trade. So we got illiquid Sunday. We got Japanese yen carry trade. Look at this chart. Look at this chart of the Japanese yields going back to 08. It's the last time we saw these levels. And I want to say typically near a reversal, you're not just getting giant green wicks. So, maybe, typically you get a doji candle. I'm not saying it's going to happen here with the Japanese bond yield, but does that just, it's reversing today? I don't know. I feel like this is just part of a parabolic move, and, it might slow down before it gets worse. So it might get a lot worse since April 2008. It might exceed the 08 financial crisis here. And so Japanese yields is also has impact on where Bitcoin goes. And then we'll go into the third reason here. The third reason, it's China. It's China. But 85K is in the card. So let's look at some Bitcoin charts here. So Bitcoin's bear flag projecting 67,000. We had a long positions getting liquidated here. 564 million. In Bitcoin was 188. Ether was 139. 564 is the total there. So let's look at, this right here saying 60 something K. We got this little risk adjusted curve here. This is pointing at 61K all the way down to 36. That's very, very risk. I would say low likelihood we're going to hit the bottom of this green. So this is a log chart. It's a little bit hard to see. 36 isn't right here. So the top part of this green is 61. The bottom part of this green is 36. They're saying we might hit the green zone, and the best case scenario green zone price is 61,000. So let's look at that big bear flag that I was talking about. This is the daily. I don't think I would say, run the flagpole from all the way up here. Maybe I guess we could do it, but this is what I would look at. If you're looking at a bull or a bear flag pennant breakdown, I would say this is your bear flag. I think moving it to here, it's a little dubious. It's a little dubious here. So we're going to run this number. This number, you were looking at $63,000 according to my TA right here. I guess I could do the scary number. I don't think it's going here. Just to be clear, this is not my target. This isn't my target. I guess there's some bears. Peter Schiff, he probably looks at this target. The Bitcoin bears, the people saying, it's all over. This is the target they're looking at. $46,000 for that bear flag pennant. I actually haven't looked at this. Did we get bear flags last time? Let's go to 22. Remember, we do sometimes bottom near Thanksgiving. That looks like a bear flag to me. I'm just curious. I'm just curious here. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's just, maybe give ourselves let's freak ourselves out or make us feel good. I don't know which one that's going to be. Okay, see, it didn't go that low. It doesn't mean it's going to play out, folks. It does not mean it's going to play out. So, maybe, oh God, should I do it? I should do this one. I should do this one. That one did play out. Oh my God, that one did play out. I feel like Kevin McAllister. Chat. It's not great. It's not great. If it's this one, hey man, no worries. But if it's this one, yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked, chat. We're cooked. So the question is, what position are we in? Are we right here or are we right here? I think we are looking at a situation like this. I don't think personally, I don't think we're right here. I don't think this is like we're going much lower. I just don't see it personally. I don't know if you guys are as bearish or if you're bullish. But that's personally what I'm seeing. Now let's talk about China. We have a potential China. I need to go ahead and close this trade. At least close half of it. I am trading on Aster. I didn't get the full deployment there. So, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but that was 250. Now it's like 170. So I might need to go ahead and close that. All right. Just to let you know, the short that I'm getting from the Discord might be coming to an end. We might close that short. I don't know if you guys are shorting the market right now, but we're definitely shorting the market here. Alts will be crushed. That's why I'm shorting BNB, man. I'm just shorting not Bitcoin. I don't want to short Bitcoin. I'm scared to short Bitcoin. The whole year was a black swan. So you're saying it's like a ballet dancer? China's all FUD. Not sure is why it's even brought up. Yeah, I would agree. I'm gonna say, this is what the Chinese government did say over the weekend, though. It's the MAGAT Trump dump. It's the Trump dump. Well, we do have a Trump dump because of a Trump pump. So in a strange way, I will agree with you. I will agree with you and say, Trump pumped us a little too hard, a little too soon. Phrasing. And now we're paying the piper here. We are paying the mushroom-shaped piper. Bitcoin rainbow chart says 53 is the low range. Okay, some are calling for 10K, getting the vibes of bear market 22. Everyone's saying 3K, 10K. I called the bottom by 36 hours. It can always go lower than you think. I called the bottom in 22, so I'm going to be bullish here. Does this mean the Fusaka upgrade won't do anything? I am going to bring up ETH. I'll tell you what I think about ETH's Fusaka upgrade, and we'll do some ETH price analysis as well. So, yeah, we're going to do that. I don't know if we're done, man. If we're done bottoming, sure. But if you're like, oh, it's getting much worse from here, I don't know. I don't know. The slapping? How could she slap? How could he slap me? All right, let's talk about China here. Classic clip, that is. China reaffirms a crypto ban. Okay, so what's the China FUD? What's reason number 3? Let's go over the third reason. Again, it's a lot of FUD. People's, the PRC is still probably mining Bitcoin. In fact, we're going to look at the numbers. So the central bank has flagged stablecoins as a risk. As promised, its crackdown on crypto trading is coming back. Although it even has been banned, since 2021, virtual currencies do not have the same legal status as fiat currencies, lack legal tender status, and should not, cannot, won't not be used as currency in the market. Virtual currency-related business activities constitute illegal financial activities. China's central bank highlighted stablecoins as a particular concern. Why? Because it competes with their central bank digital currency, their digital yuan. Now, they're stating that the tokens weren't meeting legal requirements and were being used for criminal activities here. Now, Reuters reported just early last week, China, the third highest share of Bitcoin mining. So of all the countries mining Bitcoin, China's number 3, despite its crypto ban, and its market share is now 14% by the end of October. Quick back of the napkin math. For every 7 computers mining Bitcoin, one of those 7 resides in China. So China is banning Bitcoin at the same time they're mining Bitcoin, and it is very much a very mixed bag. I did look into Hong Kong because Hong Kong is on the forefront of, stable coins are coming, Bitcoin licenses, crypto licenses, here's the AML rules. Here's all the things to make crypto legible in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is, part of China. It was originally part of Great Britain. It's well before that, obviously part of China. Britain annexed it. They have a multi-decade plan to pass control of Hong Kong to China. They call it the 2 cities, 1 government system. Hong Kong is definitely having a step back. They're stepping back their support for crypto. So this is affecting Hong Kong at the same time here. Now let's talk about reason number 4, MicroStrategy FUD. What is the news? What's real and what's fake with the MicroStrategy stuff? Trying to research this stuff this morning, I about got a nosebleed because there was just so much bad information out there. So this is straight from Michael Saylor. MicroStrategy announces the formation of $1.44 billion USD reserve and an increase in its Bitcoin reserves to 650,000 Bitcoin. They're above 3% at this point. Some are seeing this and getting bullish. Some are seeing this and getting insanely bearish. What is happening here? What is the breakdown? Here's Peter Schiff's. You want the most bearish take? Here you go. Today is the beginning of the end of MicroStrategy. Saylor was forced to sell stock, not to buy Bitcoin, but to buy US dollars, merely to fund their interest and dividend obligations. The stock is broken. The business model's a fraud, and Saylor is the biggest con man on Wall Street. That is bold conjecture from Peter Schiff here. The comment section's a little bit of a mixed bag. Irresponsible, defamatory, libelous, disgusting. So, hey, you guys should kiss. All right. Now, come on now. Some are saying, he's legally compliant, unlike all others Ponzi. So saying it's a Ponzi, saying it's not Ponzi. Oh, the reserve's going to build. So what is all this? So Saylor just said Strategy may sell its Bitcoin or Bitcoin derivatives while trading below 1x the market native asset value in the best interest of the shareholders in the Bitcoin community. So they have a product. This product pays a dividend. We're not talking about MicroStrategy stock. We're talking about these preferred shares that they would sell. And they would sell this share saying like, man, this is like a savings deposit. You know, you give me $100, I'm going to give you $110 in a year. People bought the heck out of these things. Oh, 10% yield. I love it. I give you the $100. You know, you're Michael Saylor. I give you $100. You go, you buy some Bitcoin. Then you post some AI slop on your timeline. Okay, that's basically what's happening here. All of a sudden, dividend. You know, there's rules for this 10% dividend. If things start falling close to market value for the stock, they have to come up with this cash for the dividend. People are suggesting they're going to sell Bitcoin for this dividend. Well, they didn't sell Bitcoin for the dividend. They sold more stock to pay off the dividend. So some are saying this is very, very bearish. Now, there's a twist to this. What is the twist? So the Bitcoin backer strategy creates a $1.4 billion reserve, but there's a major twist. They established a new reserve that's specifically meant to cover the dividend payments. Or if you see me glancing at my window, I had a whole electrical meltdown last night in my house. Plugged in a space heater, Christmas lights. It's a whole thing. So it's making sure the electrician isn't like coming early or something. So if you see me do that, it's not, you know, I was going to say something politically charged. It's not like people storming the gates or anything, but Strategy has established this $1.4 billion US dollar reserve. It's been funded through sales of its MicroStrategy stock at the market sale. So this isn't any kind of sweetheart deal for BlackRock. You know, this is kind of like over-the-counter sales here. Unsurprisingly, the idea of establishing a USD reserve did not sit well with some Bitcoin maxis. Some argue that holding substantial Bitcoin reserves contradicts the Bitcoin maximalist mantra. That said, the creation of the reserve should potentially assuage investor concerns about him having to sell Bitcoin. It's sufficiently big enough to cover 21 months of these dividends. The total holdings, you know, did grow up to $650,000. I don't know if you want to call this bearish. I don't know if you want to call this bullish. I think there's a lot of nuance. I think for Bitcoin, wouldn't really consider it bearish. I would say for MicroStrategy, I probably would consider it bearish. For that 10% dividend product specifically, I would definitely call that bearish. But for Bitcoin, I'm coming in not bearish. I can't stop buying Chainlink. We're going to have some Chainlink stuff from the basement, potentially a Chainlink video. I think if you spam Drew enough during his live show, he will do a Chainlink video. He's on his National Lampoon's crypto mining Christmas lights. It was my leg lamp. I had a leg lamp. It was old. It was old wiring. You know, the sparks started flying. Extension cords and extension cords into splitters. My wife made a splitter. Okay, I did not want her to have it, but she did have a splitter for like a phone charger and a laptop charger. Then there also is a Christmas light and there's a lamp. So there was a splitter, but no, I didn't have like power cords going into the splitter. It was a vertical space heater plus Christmas lights. And, you know, I think we're like charging things and also charging, you know, it's just, it fried a living room outlet and two adjacent outlets. And so I need to fix that thing. I got a guy coming. I got a guy. He's glancing to see which window he'll jump out of. Oh man. Hold on, guys. Let me look at my Cardano chart. That's the window. All right, let's see here. A bear market happens when quantitative easing happens. Yeah, I mean, quantitative easing starts today. Not technically. Quantitative tightening ends. Quantitative tightening ends December 1st, which is today. So maybe a lot of people are longing and they needed to get washed out. They needed to get liquidated. They got a little bit greedy, okay? And I did say to you guys, I was going to look at the liquidation heat map, and I didn't. And I'm not a liar, damn it. So I'm going to do that right now. So here's a little hack. Hit symbol. Don't do pair. Let's do 12-hour. Okay, we do got a liquidity grab right below where we dumped. That's not surprising at all. It's going to be 83,000. If we go to the 2-week, let's go to the 2-week here. I know it's going to be right below the 21st? Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. This is what I said at the top of the hour. I didn't have to look at this to realize this. It's going to be right below where we went on the 21st. That is obvious. But it's also starting to pile up above. And it looks like a lot of people who are shorting the market, they're getting paid. They're getting a nice little pay here. So, all right. So you see now my short is like heading down again. So I never closed my short. I'm still in the short if you're wondering. I do want to close it. I'm going to close it soon. Final FUD, the final boss of the FUD battle. Okay, this is M Bison, the M Bison, the Shang Tsung. What's the final boss battle that I'm missing here? This is the Brood from Halo. This is the Bowser. Okay, give me your final boss battle. Tether FUD is always the Bowser. All right, it is always. I'm missing some good ones here. Shang Tsung, M Bison. I'm like Streets of Rage. It's the Shredder from, I like Ninja Turtles. Okay, I like the Ninja Turtles game. Hillary. Okay, look, what are we talking about here? All right, look, you've been looking at pizza places too long. That's all I'm going to say here. All right, my question is life too easy to crack midstream? Well, yeah, every time I look at the ADA chart. The Brood, how could you mean? The Flood, Sephiroth. There we go. All right, so the final boss of the FUD is going to be Tether. Tether just dropped the latest reserves reports, and the numbers are serious. They do have the liabilities to cover. Let's just look here. All right, so it's going to be a top coin. And so we're just looking at the market cap. Tether's market cap today, Tether's market cap is, I mean, I guess I could do it this way. Market cap's 185 billion. Let's look at the 3-month. Okay. All right. This seems like one direction. Hey, it goes down every now and then. It went from 83 to 65. There's going to be a decrease. 18 into 83. I mean, yeah, so it could drop 20%. Okay. It can drop 20% like it's nothing. But so what's going on with Tether? 175 billion in liabilities. The cash and cash equivalents, though, is only 140. And so it looks like they don't have enough cash to cover the Tether. So if everyone tried to redeem Tether at the same time, they're short 34 billion. Oh, an instant liquidity. So the missing gap, this missing 34 billion, Bitcoin, 10 billion, gold and precious metals, 13 billion, secured loans, 14 billion, other investments, 3.8 billion. So yes, they're solvent on paper, 181 billion versus their 175 billion in liabilities, but they're not fully liquid. They run a fractional reserve model like traditional banks. As long as redemptions are normal, everything works. Is there panic? Liquidity stress hits fast. It isn't fully backed by cash. It's backed by treasuries, yield, risk assets, scaled to $174 billion stablecoin. Kind of mixed feelings on this. My mixed feelings on this is Jason Calacanis. He's like a little bit of a stooge, little bit of a mouthpiece. He was on the flight logs, you know, if we're going to be fair here. And he was bringing up Tether FUD, I want to say 3 days ago. What the heck is he even looking at here? I'm like scared scrolling here. We're going to be talking about Tether a lot in the next 6 months. They're going to sell all their gold, Bitcoin, and non-treasuries to become compliant so they can go public if it's not absurdly obvious. Guys, it's not only obvious, it's absurdly obvious. And they're saying, you know, the rate cuts are going to make the business less attractive. So this is what I don't get. It's kind of, so Jason, I'm like, all right, it's seeing this like coordinated FUD. There's a New York Times hit piece. There's a lot of Tether FUD all happening with China FUD, Tether FUD, MicroStrategy FUD. This big FUD storm is coming. Low liquidity. Let's cause a flash crash. Holiday, you know, post-holiday weekend, Sunday night. The real news out there is Bank of Japan yen carry trade coming to an unwind. Sure, I'll give you that. But we're seeing a lot of coordination with FUD that I don't know if it's all organic. So let me tell you about the part that doesn't make sense. Rate cuts will make the business less attractive. So if Jerome Powell, you know, lowers the rate that banks charge for overnight rates, you know, they're saying Tether's, you know, notes, their treasury yield that they're getting is going to lower. Okay, so they're going to make a little bit less money. So on every $100, they used to make $4. Now they're only making $3, and they only make $2, and maybe they only make $1. This is really, really bad. So he's saying it's not attractive because they have less yield to worry about with the rate cuts. But the more gold you have, the more Bitcoin you have, the more other things you have, the less you care about rate cuts. So in my opinion, the smart people are saying, yeah, they're hedging in case rates fall drastically. If rates fall drastically, they're not in bad shape. And if rates stay the same, you know, they're still going to be good. They still have the majority of their money, you know, tied up in USTs or T-bills. And so this isn't really that big a deal. Crypto, Arthur Hayes is like going nuts on this. I'm going to read his newsletter. I didn't get a chance, so I'll read his newsletter here. He's saying, you know, oh, the early innings of running a massive interest rate trade. They think the Fed will cut rates. So yeah, this is, I agree with this. They think the Fed will cut rates, which will crush their interest income. In response, they're buying gold and Bitcoin that should, in theory, moon as the price of money falls. He's saying a 30% decline in gold and Bitcoin would wipe out their equity. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far because they are well above. And if you look here, gold, looking for precious metals, 12 billion, 13 billion. So if it falls 30%, you're looking at $3.6 billion decline. Yeah, you're looking at 9 and some change. That falls in here. Where's their Bitcoin? Under the amount of gold. So that's going to fall, you know, 2 billion, 3 billion. So yeah, they might lose 5 billion, but they're like 10 billion above. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried. So there's a little bit of there's the fifth reason. It's the Tether FUD. Arthur Hayes woke up, chose war on Tether and Monad. Can't really get anywhere by FUDding other projects. Work on your own bubble. And as far as I know, 80% of crypto Twitter don't know what BitMEX is. If you don't know what BitMEX is, check it out. Google it. A lot of people call it a scam. I want to be careful with my words because, you know, just in case he's litigious. But look at it, you know, let's just say people are saying it's suspicious crypto hazes, pointing a finger at a scam here, pointing a finger at a scam there. And there's people who just point blank say he is a scammer who stole money. I don't know if I would go that far because, you know, maybe large enough where he might come after me here. Did you delete the Discord or get banned? No, we didn't delete. If there's an issue, send an email. Shouldn't have any kind of ban. I was just looking at it. And yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's still good. Nothing is safe. Yeah, nothing is safe. Time always proves everything. More time in the market equals more money to be made. Yes. Nice FUD though. Nice FUD. Yeah, it's the same thing everyone runs for their bank. Yeah, if you think Tether's bad, go look at any normal bank. Look at Silvergate. Look at SI. There's a lot of no bank is in better shape than Tether. Not a single one. Are we overcooked? No, we're raw. We're raw, baby. We are always raw. Steady Bug is having a blast. I'm having a blast shorting. You know, we're deep in a short. We're looking good here. Let's see here. Yeah, we're 23%. Yeah, we're having a good time shorting. So we're all having a blast. If you're in the Discord, that is. If you're in the Discord. Fed injected billions. Well, let's just say quantitative tightening is coming to an end. It's coming to an end, so that is going to have some sort of positive effect, obviously. Gannon, I can't believe I missed Gannon. It's a huge fail missing Gannon there. Any chance there's some kind of shakeout? That's kind of what I'm alluding to. China FUD, Tether FUD, MicroStrategy FUD. It's like they're pulling out the carousel of FUD, you know, riding by on the horse. I'm Tether FUD. I'm MicroStrategy FUD. Don't forget the China FUD. Yeah, there's just FUD everywhere. FUD everywhere. All right. I didn't realize I have a stupid plant right here. I can't even lift it up. I got a plant blocking my going off to the screen on that side. All right, let's get right back into the stories here. So Tether FUD. Let's talk about real FUD. Let's talk about real pain. Let's talk about things to actually pay attention to. Move. Quit putting this on there, okay? Ooh, explain it. I shouldn't have done that hand gesture, but yeah, get out of here, Grok. I don't need you to explain every post. I got bored and went through, I should not have done that hand gesture. I got bored and went through DeFi Llama to find some quote unquote dead projects that had a token generating event this cycle, that AKA released coins this cycle. So here's a list. They're saying TIA, dead, raised 156 million, $0 in TVL, $90 in daily fees. OG Labs, OG token, 357 million. 1 million in TVL. It's down 76% from the TGE. Story, 216 million, 12 million in TVL, 103 in daily fees. And Move, 41 million, 200 million in TVL, $2 in daily fees, 7 million of DEX volume. So, oh man, something to keep an eye out on. If you're in one of those coins, reassess, reevaluate. I'm just going to say dump it for Bitcoin. Dump it for Bitcoin. Any kind of pump is just going to be a dead cat bounce. And you might overperform Bitcoin for like 48 hours or maybe a week or two, but it's just going to bleed to Bitcoin. So just get your Bitcoin, folks. All right, let's talk about Tech Dev's latest post here. This is interesting because now it's like actually growing. So we pointed out like, oh, he's doing the yellow dot. In fact, we kind of did this post in like 3 parts over 3 days. Global liquidity cycle. You can kind of try to find like, Tech Dev has a proprietary algorithm to analyze this. I don't think that's you know what? If it's the electrician, L on him. I don't think that was him though. But now if you look at his liquidity cycle, so this is kind of related to the business cycle. It looks at copper gold ratios. It looks at interest. It looks at 10-year notes. He looks at a whole lot of stuff. And if you back test it, when it turns, it's good for Bitcoin. It's even better for altcoins. But when it turns, it is good for Bitcoin. Here, it went a little bit lower. And then it traded sideways, but then we got a good pump. Here, it went a little bit lower, but then we got a good pump. Here, sideways, good pump. Straight into a good pump. And now it's like we've gone a little bit lower. And so, I'm thinking it's going to start looking like this. Now, the only thing I would hesitate on is we don't know what the hell he's doing to get this line to look like that. It's like, oh, well, it's a copper, idiot. I mean, no one knows for sure how he weights this and weights that. But if you read his blog posts, they're pretty interesting. And he's saying we're going much higher very, very soon. Let's talk at ETH there. We have that guy with the $5 super chat talking about the Fusaka upgrade. Look at that. Also, I see your Zcash post there. You got it at 550. Now it's way down. Should I get out now or hodl? If you're doing it for speculation, oh man, I don't think it's going to go too much lower because I do think those Zcash shills aren't done. If you think the Zcash shills are done, then yeah, by all means. But like Naval Ravikant, Oxmert, I think Arthur Hayes, I think they got a little bit more room. All right, now you're asking about the Fusaka upgrade. Won't do anything. Now, I don't know. I got some bullishness for you for ETH. So there's a 2 trillion euro asset manager, Amundi. Isn't that like George Clooney's wife or something? But Amundi just launched a tokenized fund on ETH. They didn't ask anyone. Well, I'm sure they asked financial regulators. They did on November 4th and told everyone weeks later. You never heard of them because they manage European pension funds, but they're actually bigger than Fidelity's asset management arm. They're number 1 in Europe. They're a top 10 company globally. They chose public ETH, not a private chain. BlackRock chose ETH. Franklin Templeton chose ETH. Amundi chose ETH. And now we also have this article saying 10 out of 10. Get out of here. Stop asking Grok. 10 out of 12 ETH valuation models say ETH is undervalued. Now, I think you can tweak this to give you whatever number you want. You know what I mean? You can change the underlying math of settlement layer valuation to say it's 4K, 5K, 6K, whatever. So to me, it's a little bit suspicious here. I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if we look, most ETH valuations indicate it is undervalued. If you look a little bit deeper in the numbers, it looks pretty interesting. So most are pricing it at about 4K, but one valuation bucked the trend, and it's actually saying ETH is overvalued. And that's the one on the bottom. What's going on there? All right, so let's do a little deeper dive. So it's undervalued in 9 out of 12. According to Ki Young Ju, he's the CEO of CryptoQuant. Composite, if you get a composite fair value using all 12 models, it puts it about 4,800. 58% gain compared to where we're at. Each valuation model was ranked on a 3-tiered scale for reliability, 3 being the most reliable. 8 out of the 12 have at least a 2. These models were built by trusted experts. Boy, don't you just love trusting the experts across academia? Why didn't you say so? And traditional finance. Okay, so again, it's a Cyber Monday sale, 100%. Again, take it with a grain of salt here. But the app capital valuation model, it looks at the total on-chain assets, NFTs, RWAs. It says ETH should be 4,900. You look at Metcalfe's law. You've heard me talk about Metcalfe's law a lot. I'm not going to bore you to death here, but it's just the value of a network grows in proportion to the square root of the real active users or the number of nodes in the network. So again, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's $10,000 ETH. And then if you look at the L2 framework, looks at, combining the value of all those, they're saying ETH is 52% undervalued at $4,600 there. But let's talk about the bad one. Let's focus on the bad. Let's focus on the negative. The revenue yield valuation model. This looks at annual revenue generated by the network, and they divide it by the staking yield. So think of it as how much does a company make and what do they pay you for their dividend? So if you look at that metric, it's a little overvalued. They give it a price right around 3,000. Overvalued by 57% because the actual number is 1,296. So a little bit scary. So it's not all roses. Some of them, a little bit scary, but all in all, this is looking very bullish. Now, again, I wouldn't put too much weight into this, but you're asking about the Fusaka upgrade. I got 3 charts for you. Fusaka upgrade, I kind of have mixed feelings on. In 2021, ETH got a big upgrade, and then ETH set a record number of daily green candles. But then every single upgrade after that has not done the same thing. I don't know if people are looking at that upgrade and be like, oh, well, this is when they reduce the gas fees. Oh, well, the last one did it, so this should also give a bunch of green candles. That just hasn't been the case there. So maybe now it's like time for the reversal there. But let's look at 3 charts. Number 1, we're going to look at the parallel channel. All right, we got a fib retracement. We got a head and shoulders. Number 1, parallel channel. Let's look at this. This is on the daily. This is suggesting, if we go to the bottom of this channel, just want to throw it on your radar here. Let's see here. So from the decline, I was going to count how many days it takes to go from the top to the bottom. 1. Oh, okay. Never mind. I guess here's a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 3. I guess I could do this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So 1, 3, and 8. You add that all together, you get 12. You divide 12 by 3, you're going to get 4. So it gives us an average time of 4 days. All right, quick back of the napkin math here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, $2,100 if we touch the bottom of this area. I will not DCA into Bitcoin and I will DCA into ETH. In fact, I might even now I did execute my order on the silver and the gold options, taking profit off the table on that. Still have some contracts, taking profit on the other. I'm going to keep that because I already DCA'd into Bitcoin today. I'm keeping the dry powder in case ETH touches the bottom of the range. So that's a $2,100 target. All right, so that's the parallel channel. Chart number 1. So give you chart number 2, head and shoulders. Then we'll do the fib. Head and shoulders, we've already talked about this one. I just want to kind of draw it on for you here. You can see very, very bullish. We're just measuring the head from the neckline. And that's giving us, around an $8,000 ETH. So $8,100 ETH if the head and shoulder plays out. It's looking less and less likely, but let's just say, if it does, very, very bullish. What's that head and shoulders? Okay, same thing. Get out of here. I don't need one. All right, and now let's look at the fib. The fib is probably in a weird, like the best one I've seen. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to 89. This is looking from the swing high of December of last year. This is after the Trump pump. Trump wins the election. All altcoins go on a mega rally. And then we had a good old tariff war. But then things started to decline. So we're looking at the swing high to the swing low that happened during the peak tariff mania. We hate China. China hates us. This is the zenith, the apex of fear and FUD right here. So going from the swing high to the swing low, what do we see with ETH's price action? You see it kind of stays in that range. It's not surprising it comes down and tests the top. If you're looking for, a more bullish target, the 1-3 or the 1-6-1-8. Hold on. Let me get the 1-3-1-6 here. I didn't know I didn't have it on. I don't have it on here. All right, we don't have it on there. I'd have to use a different one. But looking at the levels, the current levels, look at that. Look how well it paid attention to these levels. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right, so if we lose this, is the 0.5 to the 236? No, the 386, 0.5 to 386. Hold on. Yeah, 0.5 to the 382. Don't list 236 382. 0.5 to the 382. Well, did I just move it? I just moved it, didn't I? I moved it scrolling. Yeah, I did. All right, let's get back there. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, now it looks clean. Now it looks clean. Oh man, we're losing it. We are losing it, chat. So going down here, $2,400 potential target. I would say, it's directionally using these fib lines. I do think there's some traders using this now. Is it like a spider line where you're like, you look hard enough, you can see it touch? I don't know, maybe, but this is something I'm going to be paying attention to. So I have the bottom of that. There you go. There you go. Let's pull up the parallel range. So I will buy more ETH at the yellow line, and I will buy and giga long at the blue line, and I will add to the position if it dips below. So there's my ETH strategy, and I hope that helps you. Now, I'll tell you what's bullish. Grand Theft Auto 6, anybody? Sony planning a stable coin for US gamers. I think that's going to be very bullish. Am I still bag holding Cardano? What's your outlook for the coin these days? Still holding Cardano. Thank you, James Wallace. I sold some into Bitcoin during the Trump pump, but I bought Bitcoin, or I bought ADA again before the bottom. So I could have timed that a lot better. So yeah, I am sitting on some ADA, but now I am like getting bullish on ADA, seeing the founding entities come together, seeing what's happening with Midnight, seeing the possible Chainlink integration, and seeing the possible tier 1 stablecoin integration. Chainlink is an easy, actual will pump news event, because a lot of you get good news, nothing happens. Chainlink added on Cardano will pump ADA. Stablecoin, you're looking at the price doubling in like 30 days. So I'm pretty bullish. Now's not the time. Link is XRP's baby, sis, for real. Maybe if the little sister's on steroids and is like beating up the older brother. Yeah, sure. At the ages of 10 and 11. So like it's bigger now. You buy Chainlink at the price you deserve. That is very, very good advice. Let me just kind of show you the Chainlink story. We're going to let Drew probably talk about this. Oh yeah, I did have a quick thing I wanted to add. So they have a stable coin for US. Real quick though, Drew's probably going to cover the grayscale news with Chainlink and maybe ask him for some Chainlink charts there. But Sony is planning to issue a US dollar peg stablecoin for American customers as early as fiscal 2026. I was like, all right, does that mean October 1st? I went into the press release. Nakia had a good rundown. I couldn't read it. I was researching, when is Sony's fiscal 2026? Now, usually in America, you're going to go till October 1st, right? So that's kind of when it starts. Japanese companies, though, it might actually be fiscal 26 might go until 2027. So don't think it's going to happen by September 30th. It might actually happen like, Q1 2027 there. So, but still very, very bullish. We might get a stable coin in fiscal 26. It's going to be one-to-one peg stable coin for payments and settlements within the gaming. I didn't even know they did some with anime business operations. It's going to be an alternative to credit cards, so they can reduce the fees paid to Visa and MasterCard. Now, who doesn't like this? The bankers. Imagine that. The ICBA, Independent Community Bankers of America, submitted a letter opposing the application, and they said it's designed to receive the benefits of a U.S. bank charter without becoming a bank and having to basically follow all the rules that we had to follow. But very, very bullish for Grand Theft Auto having some sort of crypto integration. I'm still holding I want to hold my breath on Grand Theft Auto doing it, but this is the step that you do need to see before you get that. And it looks like, talking about the FUD, there was one FUD I forgot. Tether FUD, China FUD. We also got Trump administration FUD. So I did forget to add that. But yeah, David Sachs called the New York Times report on his conflicts of interest a nothing burger. He's actually, I think, suing them. Is a whole letter. But the New York Times says he still has 20 crypto investments. He has 708 tech investments. 450, Jesus Christ, are AI related. 20 tied to crypto. What does that mean? All of which could benefit from his policies. One example is saying he's invested in BitGo, which is a stable coin as a service. BitGo filed to go public in September, and Kraft owns 7.8% of the company. Now, to be fair, he does not operate Kraft anymore on their investment arm. That's what he says. I think he would definitely be lawfared by the next unfriendly administration if he did. And so he is a lawyer. I don't think he's breaking the law. He is a lawyer at the end of the day. That he was a major a backer of the Genius Act, which was signed earlier into law. So the New York Times, they're suggesting, because they have invested in a stablecoin company before he became a governor or government assisted employee. It was a little corruption there. I want to look into the other 19 crypto investments there, though. So I think there might be something there. But folks, this is the show for today. I'm going to test my electricity. I'm going to try to not get shocked like Marv from Home Alone. I'm going to try to avoid that. I don't know if I can, but I am going to try to avoid. Let's see. I get a couple questions, and we did end 2 minutes early. Let's see. He said XRP is a security. Yeah, obviously is, though, isn't it? I mean, it's not a commodity. It's not a commodity till the escrow wallet is done. I think that's a fair statement. I'm not trying to FUD XRP, but if you don't know, 1 billion XRP hits an escrow wallet every month. Sometimes they lock up 600 million of the billion. Sometimes, 900 million. Sometimes they dump all billion. Given that, yeah, I think it's a security. Not a security. Well, not according to the SEC. Has been ruled a commodity as far as I am aware here. What they settled upon was selling the asset to non-accredited investors there. No house fire this year. Hold off till next year. Well, I got to get a second home insurance. Don't clip that. Because if my house does burn down, they're going to be like, oh, you said he was going to do something. Is Link going to moon at $6? I will sell a kidney for $6 chain link there. I did buy some chain link at 12. I didn't pull the trigger at this dip into 12, but I got some $12 chain link exposure. So I am looking at more. Crypto's losing value every day. Fiat is way better. I mean, sure, it is during a bear market, and I think we're in a bearish period, but I do think the bearish period is coming to an end sooner rather than later. I don't think we're about to, because the top was October 6th. I don't think we're going to be going down for 11, 12, 10 more months. That's just my opinion. I don't think anyone knows for sure, but that is just too much bullishness coming. And it looks like we're starting to get a looser monetary policy. And also Powell's out in April, if I'm not mistaken. Might be losing a kidney. I might be, man. I might be. How many do you need? XRP isn't leaving, but not flipping Bitcoin. Never. Tomorrow, never. Not tomorrow, not next year, not 10 years from now. Never. I will say it. Never. There's better coins than for art. Man, a lot of art. XRP, you guys just are obsessed with it. You're obsessed with XRP. So leaving the top 10, that one I would not potentially agree with that. I think it has a huge community, and it has the idiot trade going for it, meaning it is a low priced token. And so when someone's, investing $10,000, they don't want to buy 12% of a Bitcoin. They'd rather buy thousands of the future of banking. It is marketable. It's very, very marketable. Even gold and silver are better for now. I am taking profits on my gold and silver options. We shared that trade. Phenomenal trade. Better than mostly any crypto trade I've had this year. And so, yeah, we are taking profits. And I'll probably sell a little more Zcash. I was 25% up from my latest, average purchase from before the run up. So probably go ahead and just make sure I walk away in the green on that one. But all right, folks, we hit 10:30. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit that like button on the way out. Drew is going to be talking about Chainlink, and he might have a video coming out. So let him know in the chat what video you want him to build. Maybe he'll incorporate some of your favorite altcoins in there. That's all we got. Hit the like button on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you folks in the future. I'm going to try to make sure my house does not catch on fire.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.